Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everyone is well. It's the CM010 Super League, CM012 Super League. It's Wednesday night, and we are live. Been a while since I've done that one. Even to a few people who joined in the chat already. I can see that Steve Wright's about. I can see that Jens is there. Greavesy, Mr. Edwards, Ian Campbell's there. Bit of carnage. Oh, and it will ensue, I'm sure. I'm also delighted to be joined by the Devils boss, the new Devils boss, and former League Leaders Shield winner with Leadersford, Hodgie. How you doing, Hodgie, mate?
I'm good, mate. Cheers. Evening, everybody. Hope you're all well.
Evening. And alongside him, or not literally, but alongside him on the comms is long-serving Bostock manager, former temporary manager of Chudley Cannons. Scott, how you doing, mate?
Evening, Ryan, Hodgie, and everybody on the chat. How are we all doing?
Well, hopefully everyone's good. Quick look before we dive into things, but we're not going to stand on ceremony too much. Quick start with you, Scott. But you've been bigged up a lot this season. A lot of people fancying you to do well, finishing top two. A few people have mentioned. You've had a solid start to the season. That's 3 wins and 2 defeats. Both of your defeats come in with 10 men. How much do you think that's affected things?
Yeah, I'm pleased with, real pleased with the start, to be honest, especially the performances. Obviously, we've been sort of billed as being one of the favourites. I'm really pleased with the business that we did and the squad we put together, and the start that we've made. To be honest, like you said, the 2 games we've lost, we've been down to 10 men. The first one against Haggis, we were 1-0 up and but they sort of got the better of us in the second half. And then the Northern Bern game, again, was a really close game, tight game. It was always going to be tight. But again, both times we've had to play 45 minutes with 10 men. And unfortunately, we just couldn't hold on. And they got a 92nd minute winner. But, that for me, up there with, alongside Devils, really. Albeit not had a great start, one of the favourites.
Have you
So yeah, these are where we're at. No panic, no danger.
Have you set any personal targets for what you expect to do this season? I mean, what would you see as a success? Do you need to finish at in the top 2?
No, I think when the season starts, there's 14 managers fighting for 6 places, and that's everybody's initial goal. I think I'm confident that we'll do that. It would be an absolute failure if we don't, in my opinion, with the squad that we put together. So initially, it's the top 6. I'm not going to start talking about top 2 expectations. Not at this early stage. We're 5 games in.
In contrast, Hodgie, you took over the champions. Obviously, you've done very well in the past in numerous situations of the Super League. I think it would be fair to say Devils have been below par so far this season, struggling to find the net with the consistency that they did last season. Just how disappointed have you been with your start?
Do you know what? I'm not even that disappointed, really. Performances haven't been too bad. If you click on them, they're all right. I think we've been in most of the games. We battered them there. We were in it with Bern. We're just not getting rubber green at the minute. And that will come in. I've yet to see. You've not clicked on a game that we haven't been on top in yet. You could argue with that one.
So
it's just results, really.
So is it you've only had Impenza for the one game, haven't you? Which is this season and obviously he was massively key to Fifey's Devils last season. How much do you think that's played a part, and much do you think it's been the collective?
It's definitely been a centre forward. I'm not saying Impenza's going to come in and we're going to start winning, but it's definitely goals. We're creating plenty of chances. We're just not scoring. Hopefully, he can score and we'll get a few more points on board. But I'm not pinning it all on Impenza as such as just goals from anywhere really has been a problem. We've created plenty and just not scored enough to win games.
I'm sure they'll come. And similar question to Scott: what do you see as a success? Are you aiming for top 2 and to go? Do you mean and try and go all the way this season and repeat what Fife did with them last year, or would you be happy with the top 6? Or
Yeah, I think what did I get last year? Leadersford, I think, or 10th. So
Yep.
I'd settle for 9th this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you might be chasing Leadersford, who are up in second at the moment. Just having a quick look at who's in the chat. Mega Horse is there. Evening, Mega Horse. I see there's a gentleman by the name of James Phillips. Nice to see you in the chat there, mate. Duggan's about. Yeah. Been Ascam dressed as a gladiator at 35 stone in height of winter. Never been as purple. I'm pretty sure I'm not following that chat. Anyway, here we are. We had Duggan on with Fifey on Sunday in the second section of the bank holiday double header. The results are on screen. Which was the biggest shock for you, Scott?
The biggest shock. I don't really think at this early stage you could say that any of those are massive shocks. I expected Devils to win at home, if I'm honest, and I think that Astor was probably the performance of the night against Gazelles. But at this early stage, we've not a great deal of form. I don't think any of those results are massive shocks, to be honest.
Yep. Hodgie, quick look at the table before I start getting to the first game of the evening. Anyone who has had a poor start, maybe apart from yourself, that you expect to be 100% nailed on top 6?
I thought I just said that we hadn't had a poor start.
I said you had a poor start. You said you.
Right, I'm going to pill myself out then, am I? Try to be positive here.
Well, I mean, the Devils, after finishing first, to be 13th. I'm just saying, mate. Only 5 games in, but
be interesting to see if Hodgie's still getting 45,000 turn up if they've all fucked off.
Interesting indeed. So, any kind of shocks in the positions in the league table? Anyone that's outside the top 6 that you expect to be nailed on top 6 come end of season, and anyone that's in the top 6 now that you think is no chance?
Do you know what? You could literally swap Hulls for Leadersford, and I don't think you could be too far off.
So you think it's gone to form really for what you expected?
Yeah, I'd be surprised if Leadersford were to get in there in second. I won't be surprised if they made the 6. I won't be shocked at anyone making it. But yeah, I reckon you could swap Hulls for Leadersford, and that could be a 6, and I don't think there'd be too many arguments.
Fair enough.
Campbell's doing his I'm fucking brilliant. Like, that squad should be in the 6. You know what I mean? He's not overachieving now. He's underachieved for 7 seasons. So
that's a fair point. That's a fair point. He's he talks himself up a lot, doesn't he? I think now is the time really. He's got to start delivering. Otherwise, he's going to embarrass himself. Champ Swans and David Schwazer, definitely going to be pronouncing that wrong in the chat. So I'm going to start by kicking this one off. I think I have seen Jens. I'm not sure if you've ever seen Rob. I'm just trying to think who I can go to first. Mega Horse and Greavesy are both in the chat, so I'm going to start with that game. Quick look at Leadersford. They started well, Scott, haven't they?
They have, yeah. Dan's done well with inherited off the back of someone else's transfer business. But yeah, the tactic that he's chosen that he's sort of rolling with tonight has done absolutely fine for him. Glad to see Torres back in. I think Hodgie had him scoring goals season 1. In a partnership, and I just think that he needs to be in there now. Have we got an injury on the right hand side as to why Evan Nilsson's in, or is that just a tactical decision?
Exabriya had the last time. Where's Exabriya?
Just left out.
Just left out, I think.
It'll be interesting to see how Evan Nilsson can get on in such an advanced role. But apart from that, credit to Dan for getting it right, really, in terms of how he started.
Yeah.
The only one thing for me that surprises me is that Ambrosini is on the bench and Paredes is playing. Now I know that they've had a couple of good results, but for me, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, I like both of those players. I think he's got a lot of really good DMs. So I think Vogel's fantastic at DM. Patsatoglu's probably the weakest of the lot, and I know Hodgie played in pretty much every game. But yeah, I probably would have Paredes in this 11. Whether I put Paredes, Vogel, and Ambrosini in there potentially. But yeah,
I'd never heard of him.
have you not?
I'd never heard of him till Jens ran about him, and then I looked him up like a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, but I've no idea who he were. To be fair,
I've actually got him
it
in.
was a new one on me.
I've just got him. I've just taken over Hamburg on my journeyman save at home, and he was there. They'd signed him, and he's definitely been a nailed on starter for me. Let's proceed to Locomotive Boston, who've had a few injury issues. Petit, Kolozny, Guerrero, all out at the moment. He's reverted to a kind of more traditional kind of lineup, which is a bit strange for Greavesy. He's got with the Roma trio up top, and I think it's a debut for Ed Milson at defensive midfielders. What do you make of this, Hodgie?
He's got Montella scoring, and he pretty much he carried me to the final, and I got him scoring at that. So that's I say it all the time. I think if you've got a goal scorer, you're halfway there. You really are. I think you can play any old shit anywhere else. If you've got somebody who's turning up and scoring goals, you've got a good chance. You've only got to be better than literally just better than half of the league to make the playoffs. You don't have to be any good to make the playoffs, really. So if you've got yourself a striker that's scoring, you're in with good stead. I like his wing backs. He's going to be putting plenty of up and down from them too. I like them both. He's always been pretty solid at the back. Just the sort of the three behind the strikers, Zidane, Delicchio, and Cassano don't really excite me. But a Greavesy side never really excites you, and it always gets the job done. So
Yeah,
I
completely
think he
understand that.
might nick one here.
He put online before. I'll get some predictions in the chat if that's all right. He put online before that his team that won the Super League were the worst team ever to win it. That's something you'd agree with, mate?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'd probably go with that. Yeah.
Not even Phoenix season. My first season with Phoenix, I thought they were pretty
You had
gash.
you had you had on there, didn't you?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I built the
You,
team
you,
around
you
him.
you're literally trying to tell me you had the worst team in the game with the best player on the game. I'm not having that one.
A prediction from you, Odgie,
I think Locomotive might nick it by a goal, 2-1.
and Scott Boy.
I want to go the reverse. Leicester by one.
Right. It seems a lot of it's just 2-1s and 1-0s, a lot of 1-1s. Steve Wright going 2-1 to the away side, as is Duggan, with apologies. Mega Horse saying he will not predict his own games. Our Mystic Alf has gone 2-0 for the home side, and Greavesy shock horror with the 0-0. Let's kick this off and see where we get. 1 minute in, and we have a very fast start. Ronaldinho involved, as was I think I saw Tonetto's name. Some Pozzanzini down the left-hand side for Leddersford, and we've had a
Oh
red
dear.
card for, I mean, the number one goalkeeper in the league according to Greavesy, and I potentially agree over the two seasons we've had so far. He has been the best keeper, but he's not done his team any favours tonight. Red card after just 11 minutes. Hopkins saying 1-1. I'm just going to give Greavesy a couple of seconds to pick out what do you call it? A substitute, if you will. I'm just going to try and get this chat open. Greavesy.
Hodgie,
With,
are you
with,
not going to? Are you not going to jump to Hanjog Butt's defence as the best goalkeeper in the league? You were quite defensive last season. Very
Anjog Butt was the best over the 2 seasons. He was my best player by a long way, and I don't even think he's on the bench tonight, is he?
I'll have a look. I'm not too certain about it. I mean, let's have a look at Cassano. Is the one going off for Peruzzi? Do you want that centraled up or leaving as it is, Greavesy, please? Duggan saying that's huge. Spartak Slavs going ha 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 ha. Classic.
It's a bit of karma, isn't it? How many times did I sit here as Leadersford boss and have to fuck about with red cards against these bastards?
Kisano, I've keep Delvecchio on the left, right. That's what we're going to do. Yep. Zinedine Zidane selected as captain. And you're asking about Leadersford. It's Tavia and Rost are the number 1 and 2. Let's resume this one. And it's Christian Kivu penalty. I didn't realise it was a penalty, but it was indeed. And Kivu's put it away. Interesting that you let Kivu go to Leadersford, Hodgie. I thought you would have kept him in a Devil's shirt. I suppose you are pretty stacked at centre half. It looks like Leadersford well on top now, as you potentially expect, being up against 10 men. Posancini, Hersey, Ronaldinho involved. Oh, that was another yellow card for Locomotive. They are still in the game though at just 1-0. 44 minutes gone, and I think Ramelow had an effort there which went over. Where are we up to then? We are at half time. It's been all Leadersford as you kind of expect. 4 shots on target to 1. Quick look at the red card. It was Torres fouled in the area going past Barthez. Fernando Torres doing the business in the side there for Leadersford, and the Kivu penalty. Let's have a look at Boston first. Scott, what do you make of their first half, and what would you be doing if you were in Greasy's shoes?
I mean, it's tough when you get a red card early on. Excuse me. They've not covered themselves in glory, but it was always going to be one-way traffic. No surprise to see Zidane having a stinker, but you could pick out numerous players really. It's a tough one. Greasy's just going to have to grit his teeth and hope the boys can grind it out, keep it tight, maybe take it to the last 20 minutes and nickel it, go like they've become renowned for. And then on the flip side of that, I think Dan will be up in early goal second half and kill it off.
Yeah, completely agree. Lucenhoff off for Ed Mielsen, I think is the chat. Lucenhoff for Ed Mielsen. Where's Ed Mielsen? There he is. He's on a 5. I think that's about it. Macca's back from golf. Let's have a quick look at Leadersford and Hodgie. Solid first half, and would you keep it the same here?
Yeah, I don't really make too many changes at half time anyway. So I think if you're in front at home playing against 10 men, yeah, I'd stick with it as it is. There's not to complain about there, I don't think.
No. Have you been impressed with Dan's start at Leadersford? Have you getting any fond memories, any kind of yearning to go back to your club?
Yeah. I'm just while I'm watching it, I'm just pretending I'm still Leadersford manager and just enjoying it. Yeah, he's had a good start. I think there was a good side there last year. I mean, I think we finished 10th in that second tightest defence in league. It was literally the old problem of I just couldn't score. If you can get some goals in the team, I mean, yeah, they've a real chance.
Yeah. Just noted that's Leadersford's and Kivu's 3rd penalty and 3rd goal for Kivu of the season. I think it's been mentioned in the chat, which is 3 more than Hulls have had in their tenure. Sorry, 2 more than Hulls have had in their tenure. Let's kick off the second half and see where we go from here. And as we expected, it starts with a lot of yellow. Another appeal for a penalty there. Looks like Torres was involved again. Posancini involved a lot on the left-hand side, but in comes Zidane. And it's a penalty the other way, and Montella puts it away. Locomotive back in the game, as always, keeping it tight. And as we go into the last 10 minutes, we'll slow it down a little bit here. Taibi delivers the ball upfield. Yeah, Ronaldinho past Lucenhoff, who's come on and obviously done the business there at half time. I think this is a really good point for Greavesy. He manages to take it. Ball upfield, Paredes to Patsoglu. Vogel misses the target, and we go into injury time, and that's the final whistle. Looking at those stats, it looks like Greavesy stole one, Scott.
Yeah, I think credit to him for going out and staying in the game, really. And it just sort of goes back to what Hodgie was saying at half time, in that, there's a really solid side at Leadersford, but they should put the ball in the back of the net, if they'd have had.
Right, Scott, do me a favour, mate. Unplug whatever you're using for what do you call it for sound, and then plug it back in, mate. Because
Is that better?
Yeah, way better. I don't know what
All
happened.
right, okay. I don't know. All I've done is plug a charger in. Anyway, so look, Greaves is back with a point, I think. going back to what Hodgie was saying about Wetherspoon last season, if they'd have had a goal scorer, they'd have killed that game off within 60 minutes. But as it is, they've not been able to take the chances. But they've let Loco back in with a penalty. That's not what you want to do against a side like Boston, who are gritty and just churn out results. So that'll again, he'll be delighted that he's had an early game. Go to bed. A pleased man, I would think.
Hodgie, can you just confirm I'm not going mad and we're still having a few sound issues, aren't we?
Yeah, it just keeps going a little bit underwater.
So if you could just have a look at your setup, Scott, I'd appreciate that, mate.
I literally have not changed a thing.
It has been a little bit right from start, to be honest, Scott. It's just getting worse.
Right, okay. 1 minute.
Right, Hodgie, Christian Kibu picking up man of the match. The kind of player ratings all kind of in Leathersford's favour. Bit of a solid game. They, as kind of Scott was saying, just couldn't kill him off, yeah?
Yeah. Been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. You just need a goal scorer in there, and maybe unfortunately for Dan, I think I swapped them all.
Mike Savage saying, I thought you posh lads in the Super League could afford robots to commentate. I mean, the first and only time I've ever been called posh, but thank you, Mike. Mega Horse glad to get the point against Loco, even with the extra man. Mr. Campbell saying, Scott is actually slagging off my fucking internet, the fucking PlusNet wanker. Very, very good fun. Let's go on to the sexy bastard in the fjords and have a look at Hull's Vikings. Hodgie, this is what Jens has given us this week. What do you make of it?
I like his fullbacks, I like his centre halves, I like his goalkeeper. I'm not keen on his midfield pairing. I think Liverani's better at DMC. Rivaldo, I just don't like at all. His front three's very dangerous. Just got to get them scoring. I think Crespo's been scoring a little bit, hasn't he? I think so. Any games after a Devils game, I don't see because I fucking turn it off in a fucking rage. So I've not been keeping up as well as I have done before.
Yeah,
but
I think the Crespo and Van der Stroy both scored one, but they were both in the same game. So that's 4 games where they've not contributed goals in. Brozek obviously has got a couple. The one thing they've been short on really is goals. I mean, only got 5 all season from this 14. Yeah, I tend to agree with you. It's rock solid team, and then it's just that middle of the park. I'm not a huge fan of Di Biagio either.
no, I think he could probably do with sending me Van Nistelrooy for Emerson, something like that. Would do it. It'd work out well for both teams. But he's probably used all his transfers again, hasn't he?
Yeah, he probably did that by mid-season last season. He'd probably done all his transfers, but there we are. Greasy again saying we want Wally, which I think is a reference to the Walrus. By the way, if anyone hasn't yet tuned in, please make sure you do catch up with Tato and the Sloth in the first episode of Tato Talks podcast. Half an hour long, very easy listen, very good fun. I mean, really kind of really contrast of Tato attempting to be relatively professional and Rob being absolutely hilarious. So we're in Norway and we are now looking at the Sloth's Scotty boy, who's not going to sound like a robot.
Hopefully not. Does that sound a bit better?
Nah, still sounds gash, mate, if I'm being honest.
What about that? Is that better?
That's better, yeah. That brief second there, it was perfect.
Okay, it's because my laptop's plugged in, that's why. I can only think. Okay, Sloths, I think... I was baffled when I saw this formation last week. If you take the arrows off, it's a relatively standard formation. I can only think that he is trying to get his players wide supply of the area, which didn't really work out last week. He's gone away from the three up front, which served him so well. Over the last sort of couple of seasons. And I think he sort of built his squad and his transfers around continuing with that. But obviously, it's not going to plan for him, so he's decided to change it up. It's a solid team. Richards obviously came in and got man of the match last week. I think his centre-backs were questioned sort of pre-season. There's some non-household names in there, if you like. There's a lot of players in there that not many people would pick and put in a team. But one thing you'll always guarantee with Sloths is that it's going to be entertaining. Apart from last week when there was about 4 chances between both sides and a bit dull. Usually when Sloths play, it's exciting and a game of the night contender.
I think Jane Richards is class. It's just a little bit of snobbery why he don't get played. He were at Dragons before, I don't know when, but I tried to get him off Dragons and I couldn't get him. But yeah, he's absolutely class, I think.
He's pretty solid. I don't know if Mega Horse is still about. He's got Chris Perry, who I think is absolutely class on the game, and he's not had a game in the Super League. And I think there's a little bit of snobbery on him as well. But I completely agree with you. Richards is rock solid. You got any predictions, Hodgie?
Yeah, I'm gonna go for 2-0 Sloths.
2-0 Sloths, Scott.
2-0 Hull.
4-0 Hools, says Robert. 9-0 to Sloths, says Jens. Very predictable. Desmond and Steve Wright. 4-3 from Fifey. Steve Wright saying Richards is a Bradford lad. Who knew? Who cares?
He must have played rugby. He played
Yeah,
rugby.
he's an ugly fucker, isn't he?
Got ears for it, or he had the ears for it, should I say?
Yeah, was. Yeah.
Yellow card early doors for Desai Yi. We've seen Crespo involved early doors as well, and they're just seeing a little bit of Zé Roberto, and he'll be glad it's his right wing back that's got the injury early doors, not his left wing back. Unless I'm going to get this kind of lined up ready, I imagine it's going to be Matty Holland off and then Albertini on for Pisotto. If Rob can just confirm that that's what he wants.
He'll probably swap Simeone with Albertini.
Yeah, that's what I'd do there. Rob, just let us know if that's all right, mate. If not, then tell me what to do. Yep, I've got a response back. Right, let's do that. And let's continue this game. Looks like Hull's slightly in charge. I've seen Brozek and Rivaldo involved quite a lot. But the first goal goes to Christian Vieri, getting his 3rd of the season. Looks like it might have been slightly against the run of play, and this might be an old familiar story for Hull's Vikings, not managing to get the goal, and now picking up a red card. 36 minutes gone. Wow, oh dear indeed, Scott. Jens, as quick as you can, mate, let us know what you want me to do. Scott, what would you do?
I would drop Liverani back. I would take off one of the strikers or Brozek, and I would put Gerrard centre midfield. I'd probably take off Crespo, if I'm honest.
I'd leave it at 1-0 down.
Would you?
Fucking go for it, yeah.
I can understand that. I can understand both of those. Both of those bits of logic there. Just seen Rob going with the Awuga. Obviously a big fan of that. Sunday's trend continued. Mad amount of red cards. Last 2-3 rounds, says Duggan. 2 reds in 2 for Hools. I think it's 2 reds in 2 for Roy Keane as well. That's the other player, obviously not involved in this game. Chris Akabusi is correct. He was on the radio at the weekend. I was listening to him.
Liverani with an arrow to DMC says.
Was it John Fashion who did Awuga?
I think it might have been.
He used to Awuga on Gladiators and
is that what? So just for continuation, sorry, I'll get back to Chris Asabuki / John Fashanu. Is that what Jens wants?
Give Liverani an arrow to DMC. Yep, further instructions.
Yeah, that's fine. John Fashanu is apparently correct. That's according to Ian Edwards. So well done there. Hull's up against it now, down to 10 men and a goal down. Just getting towards half time, and Zeriberto's coming forward. Albertini, right wing, and we get to half time at 1-0. Wow. Although they're 1-0 up, they're definitely second best, or they were until the red card at least. 3 shots on target to 1. A couple off goals as well from Hull's Vikings. Yeah, apart from that, looks like Hulls have had the possession. They've had the action areas. Let's have a quick look at the red card. It was DiBiagio kicked Ricardinho, a bit of petulance there. And the goal came from D'Alessandro, who's had a bright start to his Spartak Sloths career after being, actually relatively overlooked in his last couple of seasons at Dragons, but he's definitely not performed. Sloth's first half, Hodgie.
Yeah, they've done bits all right. Defensively, don't look too bad. It's just going. Well, yeah, I suppose they wouldn't 0 up. I mean, I wouldn't worry about shots and stuff like that. It's a scoreline, isn't it? They wouldn't 0 up. Centre forwards again. You know, Vieri's on form. You give him one chance, he scores one goal. If you tie at the back, that's all you'll need to win.
Just a couple of people mentioned Scott, sorry, just switching over to Hull so Jens can make his sub, that they prefer Ruud van Nistelrooy and Crespo as single strikers rather than as a pair. What's your take on that?
100% agree. I think that if Jens was to drop one, play two AMCs behind one of them, then they'd score 20 goals. Definitely Van Nistelrooy. He would be my preference, just because Crespo's been hit and miss in the Super League.
Would you potentially play Crespo behind, like similar like Shevchenko's done for Haggis, or
no,
Henry?
I'm not a fan of. No, I'm not a fan of it. I mean, Henry possibly done okay. I'm not a fan of going deeper, if I'm honest. But if you drop Crespo back, take him out, and you play a left-sided attacking midfielder alongside Broza, it just feels a bit better from my perspective. In terms of the first, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but you're trying to palm half your team off to fucking Wolves.
Hodgie's trying to set a couple of deals up here.
Shopping about, yeah.
It just flew to 73 minutes, which Rob won't mind at all. Let's slow down a little bit. D'Alessandro has a drive. Costanzo gets his hand to the ball, though. Crespo and Van Nistelrooy involved with 10 minutes to go. Crespo into the area. Brazek with diving header, but Digmatulin saves. And yeah, that second half was flew, and it looks like we're in kind of last chance saloon time for Hull's Vikings, and Jens must be scratching his head as per usual. Pfeiffer saying Crespo's been hit and miss, and Ruud van Nistelrooy hasn't, with the question marks. I think he scored goals though, Ruud van Nistelrooy.
He scored over 20 goals over the first 2 seasons.
21 goals in 2 seasons, and they haven't made the playoffs. I'd snap your hands off for that, and make in a side making the playoffs. I think
Van Nistelrooy had a chance last second there. Corner kick to Hulls. Can they get there? And it's cleared away. And that red card for Di Biagio, and a little bit of a champion, if we're honest, has sent Rob back to Kurdistan a happy man, Haji.
Yeah, it has, but these shots, they could be from anywhere. Jens has had 7 shots on goal, but where are they from? I think you've always got to put that into a bit of context. He's probably got 4 DMCs all on long shots.
They've come from 4 of them have come from Brazek and Van Nistelrooy. In fact, Rivaldo. Only Candelar, would you say, who's not in the position?
You're reading too much into it now, though. You should have just gone with my comment and moved on then. Had you not clicked on that screen when I started?
Jens saying he's just had 1 player on long shots, and he says, Hodgie, you're talking gash, mate. Get back in your box. That's a bit on top from Jens, isn't it? Or I might be making that up.
It is, because I'm shit, and at least I scored 1 at home to Spartak last week.
Sloth's team rivaling Season 1 local for being greater than the sum of its parts. Fifey's comparing that Van Nistelrooy's 20 in 2 seasons to Sizalco getting 19 in 1 season for Northern Bern.
Have you seen Northern Bern's side? You've got to put, you know what I mean? You've got to put just spouting numbers out with no context.
Christian Vieri, who had a relatively 6.75, but also scored 2 in 4. Scott has got the goal and a 9 tonight. And would you say that Rob and the Sloths have stole this one, or is there a little bit of hanging in there? And actually, we're seeing a more professional defensive side of the Sloths.
Well, do you know what? If you'd have said to me 5 games ago before this season started, what do you think? What would you predict for a Hull Sloths game? You'd have said, 3-all, 4-all. So Rob was scoring goals for fun and creating chances for fun all last season with his free attackers and whatever, and his influential attacking midfielder. Jens has built his side around getting an incredible attacking trio that he's sort of pinned his hopes on this season. They're not ticking, unfortunately for Hulls, and very unsloth-like. They ground out a couple of performances back to back. So credit to Rob for mixing it up and actually getting the results.
Desai proving that the edge is just a number. 8.4
Yeah,
after
absolutely.
8.4 there, and he's got another 8 tonight, so that'll still be 8.2 after 6 games. It's some start for a 35-year-old.
Yeah, definitely. I think, if the numbers are still there in terms of attributes and you don't start losing the pace and whatever, then you keep rolling with it.
Hodgie, let's have a look at the Dragons ahead of the next game. Obviously, the winners of last season's League Leaders Shield, prestigious title, which I know how much value attached to it. Obviously, Jamie's lost his Dicks. He's in the chat tonight. He's stuck with his same team. What have you made of Dragons so far this season, and are they the same force they were last year?
I don't think they look quite as strong as they were, but it's a decent 11.
Better up front,
it's a decent
isn't it?
11. I mean, the goalkeeper's a little bit of a miss, but his centre halves are good. I like Said. That 3 DMC is very solid. Joko maybe a little bit lightweight centre midfield, but yeah, it's a good side. I'd be maybe just tempted to. I'm not a fan of Kesman. Maybe scrap Kesman, and I think you'll get a little bit more out of Clive on his own. But it's a good side. There's not a glaring weakness. There's not a Luigi Di Biagio in there, or some teams are a little bit light. There's no Jermaine Defoe up front. For myself, I'm not just having a go at Jens, but yeah, I think it's a pretty solid side.
Like Hulls, all the strikers better a one-up. So Duggan's kind of agreeing with what we suggested there. Is that's back-to-back clean sheets with Sloths again. I tend to agree with you. I mean, he's also brought Tomadeira in, and obviously he's not got the numbers so far, but he's left him out this time. Figo, who he's brought in as well for 20 million from Gazelles, that he could definitely be an option alongside Archie back behind Cliverts, couldn't he?
I've always found Figo better up front.
Oh right, interesting.
Yeah, literally, I've had when Alf does his World Cups, I think he rigs draw, and I get Portugal every year, and I just stuck him up front, and he scored loads of goals. 2 times over as well. So yeah, I've thought about it myself when I've not been scoring about bringing him in and trying him up front, but he's a little bit of bother, isn't he? It causes a bit of bother, so I'm not bothered.
Yeah, he is a bit of like I say, he's a bit of an Anelka. Usually wants to go back to Real Madrid. We move over to Dudley Hill. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to be careful. How can I say this? Steers suggested he may have been a little bit unlucky. Over the past 3 games, he's lost all 3 games by 1 goal. Obviously, he's down the bottom of the league, lost 4 out of 5. But he's trying to suggest that's not necessarily a reflection on where his team are. I was wondering, obviously, looking at this lineup specifically, Babayaro coming in, Amoroso coming in from the reserves. Is this a 14th place?
Reserve side. It looks like a reserve side.
You think?
Yeah.
Would you agree, Scott?
I think if you were to say, how many of them would I have in my 24? I would take maybe 4.
Tomasi, Van Bommel.
I'd have Tomasi, Van Bommel, Ayala. I've had Seedorf a few times. He's been absolutely shit, but I'd maybe gamble on Seedorf.
No, I would have Van Bommel, Tomasi, Kufre, and Ayala.
Tudor, probably.
Kufre's an option. Tudor, I'll just let him go on his shit. I wouldn't have him back.
Would you think? Herbert in the last 3 games, then do you think he's deserved any points in those 3 games? Especially, I mean, the Haggis game, he's been arguably.
I think you can say that he's definitely unlucky there based on the balance of it. Fulchester, I think they were outplayed if to create double the amount of chances. At the start of the season, the question marks over Dudley was they've done a lot of business, but they've stuck with Baduka or Tony up front, and they're not going to get enough goals. And Steve said, "Well, I'm going to persist with them." I just think he needs to find something, otherwise he's going to fall into that temptation to start mixing things up again, which has been his downfall of the last season or two.
Fair enough, fair enough. I was getting a few predictions. We're getting one prediction in the chat saying Mr. Edwards thinking that Dudley Hill are going to do it this evening. Wayne Oldham in charge. What are your predictions, gents? Scott,
3-0 Dragons.
Hodgie,
2-1 Dragons.
right. So Duggan's the only one that's come through as I speak at one apiece, and Macca's agreeing with that. So obviously, they've obviously got a little bit more faith in Dudley. But let's kick it off and see how we get on. A yellow card already for someone there. Kesman involved, and we've got an early goal for Mark Van Bommel after 3 minutes, which will maybe give him a little bit of a twitch downstairs to get him going. 20 minutes gone. Joe Cole coming forward. Ayala, Sador, Elisa debut at the effort. Looks like Dudley Hill are on top here. I have to pinch myself. Kesman lets fly, hits the post. Clivett comes forward and the ball goes over. Kesman has a dip, 30 minutes. Both teams definitely creating chances. Someone rifled in a volley there for Dragons. Sador coming forward. Right wing punched away. Tomasi Sadorf. Finnan, and we've got a second goal. Clarence Sadorf, who's never done the business anywhere, has just made it 2 for Dudley Hill. Gents, you were saying about Dudley Hill.
Well, going by the rules that everyone goes by, is Dragons have been better because they've had 6 shots.
Would you?
Yeah,
I tend to go off on target more than I do shots.
Yeah, but
would you
them
go?
4 off target are a post, I think. Post 4 time. No, I think it's they've deserved it of Dudley Hill there, and it's just dawned on me that I'm probably going to be bottom at Super League by end of tonight.
Don't be so down in the dumps, mate. I'm sure the Dragons can come back.
I hope so.
Up the
Yeah,
reserves, says
credit to Steve for sticking with the system that he's tried, and you know, I thought on the balance of the text and the commentary that we saw that Dudley were in control of that. To be honest, forget the stats, it felt like Dudley were in control. So yeah,
Amoroso on a 6 and on a.
Amoroso's fucking horrific.
I quite like him, mate. I know, I understand he had a really good start at Locomotive Boston, then went to absolute gash, and he's been gash ever since, even after he's moved to Dudley Hill. So I understand the frustrations, but I do like him as a player.
I think if you're going to play him, you've got to play him in a 2 up front. I don't think he's very effective as an AMC, to be honest.
Steve, you can just give us a bit of pace on your substitution so I can move over to Jamie's Dragons. Ian Edwards saying Wayne Oldham in charge. Anything can happen second half. I mean, I think Wayne Oldham gets a bad rep, if I'm being honest. I think it's more Wayne Dade who's the bad apple in the Super League. Wayne Oldham, I think, was quoted by Martin as being a bit of a bastard, and I think he's actually only ever sent 2 people off.
Wayne Oldham was the ref when I was Ardsley, and we beat BTEC 2-1, but we had 2 men sent off on the first show of Martin's reign.
Yes, it was.
That's where it always stuck with Wayne Oldham being a bastard.
I think he reffed 2 games that night as well. He's omnipotent as Wayne Oldham, usually all over the place. In When Did We Trust, says Greavesy. Jamie, if you're still about, and I hope you are still about, my good friend, let us know if you want any changes. Hodgie, would you make any changes here? Zori not doing enough at a 5?
Looking at the bench, no. I think you can look at the lineup and see who's doing what. You look at that bench, who can come on and play right wing back. Figo at a push, but I'd leave it. I think Zari's been his best player the last few weeks as well, so he might just think he can kick on a little bit if we can turn it around.
What about Figo for Kesman? That kind of fits into your narrative from earlier. That could work.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I would have started Figo over Kesman. I'm just not a fan of Kesman at all. I've never seen him do too much in this league.
I'm not too sure if Jamie's still about. How long shall I give him?
I just put Figo up front and just
I can't make a change unless he's give me something.
we can't. It's either I'll be right or you can all laugh at me.
Right, I'm going to continue as if no one's injured, and I think Jamie may be doing something else at the moment. So I'm going to continue with things as they are, and see what happens. There's Kesman with an early effort. Another yellow card there for someone. Clivert coming forward. Boma involved. Sadorf going forward to Massey. Finnan. We've flicked forward to 73 minutes. Dudley Hill still maintain their 2-goal lead. Rusev, Ayala, Sadorf, and that's made it 3-0. This is not something I expected to be talking about tonight, but fair play to Dudley Hill. They've taken the game by the scruff of the neck here, and they've extended their lead in the second half. Yeah, Finn and Sadorf coming forward. I've slowed it down a bit. I don't really know why I've slowed it down. This kind of game is over, and be honest with you. And those two players there, Mendonca and Rusev, getting the goals. Whoa, I don't know what's happening there, but Elisa Davy getting his goal. He gets one a season. What is going on? Dudley Hill have won 3-0 away from home, and maybe not dominated the game, but have definitely been the better side. You've got to give credit where credit's due. All the action zones down in the Dragons area. It's a dominant victory. Elisa Derby, assisted by Sadorf. Again, is another character who's picked up now in the match. He obviously didn't get the average ratings at Dragons or Gazelles, but he's getting not made a terrible start to the season here, has he, Scott?
No, I think you just have to give credit to Steve really for persevering. He's changed a few personnel tonight. He's drafted some reserves in system. He sort of said that I don't think we've been too far away, so I don't need to make my. I think from a Dragons perspective, it just looks like another side playing two up front. That's just.
Scott may have just gone there. Jenny, you want to finish off his sentence for him?
Yeah, he played two up front, and he maybe should look at playing one. I think that's where it was going.
That is exactly where it was going. Hopefully we get Scott back soon enough.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, mate. I think your mic just went. It's hit and miss at best, if I'm being honest. We're going to move on anyway, looking at the clock and me obviously not sticking to my time schedule that I set myself. Astra Athletic are at home to the Haggis Hunters. Now, this chairman, myself, has got to fess up. I was messing around with the Astra Athletic reserves, thinking what team would I pick if I was Tato, and yeah, I accidentally kind of left them players in, and they got selected for a reserve game. So players like Sorin getting injured and Saviola on 87% fitness and Scally on 89% fitness. I've got to hold my hands up. I've offered my apologies to Tato. A bit of a fuck up on my part. He does have a strong 11 available though, and there's a couple there which he's probably not chose. Hippie will probably have been all right at 96%. So, yeah, there we are. Who am I with? I'm with Hodgie to start off. A lot of people have said that Astor have got the toughest job in the league. Is that something you agree with?
Well, it depends. It depends how you look at it. I think he's probably got the easiest job in the league because everybody said he'd finish bottom, so he's literally just got to finish 13th. If you're talking about him making the six and progressing through the playoffs, then yeah, I probably agree. Lewis Boamorte probably won't make a championship side in an home save, but if that's what you've got, that's what you've got to work with. ZZ Roberts is firing goals in.
I mean, yeah.
I would rather have that ZZ Roberts scoring goals than your Impenzas and your Crespos who are sat with one goal, no goal. It's about sticking the ball in the back of net, and I'm boring myself saying it, so I apologise to everybody else, but ZZ Roberts has been the difference for Astor because he's sticking the ball in the back of net and he's getting them points.
Yeah, and it's not beyond the realms of possibility that Astor and Tato could make the top six. It's going to be a tough ask. I think everyone kind of I am of that thought that he probably does have the 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 biggest task in the league. But I still think it's doable. Ian and the Haggis Hunters have won 3 on the spin. They've not been absolutely firing on all cylinders. Maybe you could say fortunate against Dudley Hill, 3-2 against the Dragons, probably dominant in that one. Benefited from a red card against Bostock, but 3 wins on the spin is 3 wins on the spin, and it's something that they haven't done very often. And he's brought in Bruno, who is the 19-year-old Brazilian who had a 6 in his only other game to start. Would you have changed a winning team, Scott, or would you have stuck with it?
I'd have probably stuck with it, to be honest. Bruno is someone I am a fan of, but he's obviously not developed as well as he can do. He's probably one for a few seasons down the line. I've had some incredible saves with him before. But look, forget performances. Like Hodgie said earlier, it's about points on the board if you think you're doing something right.
Indeed. Are you under the kind of this kind of feeling that this Haggis side on paper should be making top 6 as a bare minimum?
Definitely.
Fair enough. And so, what are your predictions for tonight, then, Scott? And in the chat, please. And I think we've got a Fifey going for a Desmond.
2-1 Astor.
2-1 Astor. Hodgie?
I got 3-1 Haggis.
3-1 Haggis. Both managers in the chat going different directions. Yen's asking Rob to piss off. Let's kick this one off and see where we go. And Vashuk involved. You have Vasilyuk there. Shevchenko cleared by Vashuk after 11 minutes. And here, eating words, is the chairman, with Bruno getting the goal after 13 minutes. Joe Cole going off. Is it Joe Cole or Ashley Cole going forward on the left hand side? And we've got an injury for Francisco Arca. Do we have anyone who can play right wing back? Vashuk can play right wing back. If he wants to bring Southgate on, that's what I would do. What would you do, Hodgie?
Tato's not Ryan.
I'd put Katana there and stick Fowler up front.
I would put Boa Morte there and stick Massaro.
So Tato's got 3 different options there to do.
He's not about.
Oh, he's not about. Right, so I got express instruction, which I was a little bit wary whether to accept or not, but I'm going to go with. He's delegating substitutions to yourself, Scott. So Scott, did you say you're going to put Boa Marte there and then
Massaro
on?
That's what I would do.
Yep. I will go with that in this instance. And
Ask me because he'd have had Southgate there.
At right wing back.
If he left to me, he'd have had Southgate there.
We go on, and we've got another goal, and it's Bruno again. He's doing the business for Haggis Hunters in his first start. Haggis looking relatively on top. Both teams in the game, though. I might be wrong there by saying they're on top. Zanetti, Beaumarte involved. We get to half time now. Looks like ZZ Roberts had the effort there. Someone's been clattered by Vashuk. Shevchenko effort, Vasilyuk effort. ZZ Roberts puts it over. Just the 1 on target out of 4 from Astor, and Haggis have had 4 out of 7. Obviously had the 2 goals as well. A lot of the action areas in the Astor defence. So it's a volley after Yap Stan sent the ball over from a free kick. And Mike Doff flicking the ball on, and Shay Given punching the ball out to Bruno with a ferocious right-footed strike. So we're going to go to Scotland first. Hodgie, he's going to be delighted, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, 2-0 up. Players playing pretty well. He probably just maybe like to see Mendieta and Shevchenko on ball a little bit more, but that's something you only worry about if the scoreline's not going your way.
Yep, and I'm glad to say that Ian's saying keep as is. Ian, the Edinburgh internet has massively improved. Scott, as kind of temporary kind of assistant while Tato's glamping, are you going to get involved and make any changes here, or are you sticking as is for
Yeah, I don't think leave it. Put Fowler on for Catania.
Fowler on for Catania. I think Fowler's his best striker, way better than ZZ Roberts, to be honest with you. I've said this to him numerous times, but there we are.
And I'll have Southgate for Rayad.
Right, let's continue this and see if that changes anything in the second half. Messera and Fowler, the two substitutes on, they combined there to have an effort, but it was saved. 53 minutes gone. Shevchenko, Bruno, Helguera, Zanetti, ZZ Roberts come forward, hits it hard. Rayad had one effort there. They are creating things, Astor. It does look like from the text. Rayad involved again. Messera hit him on wide. Messera was as part of the Phoenix squad, but didn't get enough appearances to warrant a winner's medal. Shevchenko puts it wide for Haggis. Looks like his one's petering out. Kind of had a little bit in the middle of that second half. Just flew by. Free kick by Rayad though. Messera challenges Fowler with a good tackle. We get into injury time and full time. And Astor, fair fucks to them, came back into that game but just couldn't get the ball in the back of the net. And ZZ Roberts, who Hodgie alluded to pre-game, he's got someone putting the ball in the back of the net. Just didn't do it tonight. 3 shots all off target, picking up a 6. Hodgie.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty even game. Just the side with the better players has won. Really.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Wright's saying shock horror Ryan plugging Phoenix. Why would I not plug Phoenix every now and again? You just got to do it, haven't you? On the side ever to win and then win again. Wael Rayad, I just noticed there on condition 20, so he might be a doubt for the next game. Arker only on 42, so may be okay. Ian Edwards saying, well in Ian, midweek error costly. Not too sure what that refers to. Scott, do you want to give your good friend Ian some praise?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he's now on the bounce. I think they were half. It's always nice to see when somebody brings in a relative unknown or someone from outside the league and they do well. So yeah, they're in the corner. And if they can maintain that consistency and keep the goals coming regardless where they come from, then yeah, they're going to be right in the mix, let's be honest.
Indeed, completely agree. Mendy has to down on 70% fitness, but it's a good performance. And Casillas, who's had 2 good ones on the spin. No, he hasn't. He got 6 last time out. Ignore me. But 2 wins on the spin at least. After me slagging him off a couple of weeks ago. Just to give a heads up there, Scott, that your mic went all over the shop again during that answer. Right, let's go to Churchtown. Here we are. Churchtown versus Gazelles. And another person using this formation. This is what Steve Wright used with Dudley Hill a couple of games ago. It's week 6 Churchtown versus Gazelles formation. Hodgie, what do you make of Dimble's start to the season with Churchtown and this lineup?
I think they've had sort of a start that like sort of where you'd expect them to be, sort of carrying on from last year a little bit. Yeah, he's got some good players in there. It's just some sides are just ridiculously stronger at one end of the pitch than the other, and I think defensively they're a lot stronger than they are attacking. I don't rate Del Piero. Santa Cruz, for me, he's not an AMC. And then Jibril Cisse, yeah.
You'd swap them two, right? Would you put Cisse as the kind of feeding Santa Cruz? I don't know.
If I was playing Cisse and Santa Cruz, I would be playing them both up front with one man behind them. I've never been a fan of it. It happens a lot. Super League, you get centre forwards playing AMC. I know it's different because I'm safe. You just go and buy another AMC if you're a little bit short, but yeah, it's something I've never really done.
Interesting. Just to point out a little bit of stat from our statistician and fast becoming Super League legend. Since game week 14 to now, the team with the most points in the Super League, Haggis Hunters, which is an interesting stat. Something to be wary of. Let's continue. Cristiano Donny missing. Let's have a look at Special Gazelles Scotty Boy. Another team with this formation as well. Fucking hell, it's the flavour of the week.
It is. It is, certainly is. I think Duggan's done a really good job since he's come in. I'll be honest, pre-season I questioned some of his transfer business, and I felt that he made this squad a little bit weaker. That's just my preference in terms of players and the way that it lines up. But you look at players like Richie Wells and fine, Karagounis, who I wouldn't have anywhere near a Super League draft, never mind first team 11. It's not done great, but he's contributed.
15 million quid.
It's a pile of shit. Some of the fees were ridiculous.
I mean, Duggan spoke very highly of Forlan and his high expectations for what he's going to produce this year, and I don't think he's started too well. But we've alluded to it a few times tonight. Points on the board and winning games are what's important.
Yeah, indeed. Forlan, I mean, he's someone I've recommended. He hasn't scored in 5 and got a 6.6, but I do have faith in him. I think he will come good, especially as a one up top. Let's get some predictions then in the chat. I can still see that we've got a 1-1 coming through from Fifey. Scott, what do you reckon for this one?
I think this is going to be 2-2. I think Dimble's got a lot of clearly trying to get bodies forward when they're in possession. But I think Gazelles have started well, a bit of confidence. So I think there'll be goals.
Yeah, we've not had a goal fest tonight, I don't think. Hodgie, you reckon this one?
Yeah, I'm going to go Churchtown 2-0.
Oh, a Ryan choice doing shit, says Steve Wright. I mean, Steve Wright, since I've had to go at him, he's really trying to kind of go in on me, mate. I mean, you're going to lose. Champ Megar saying big match, both to attack each other, 0-0. Ian Edwards and Steve Wright both going for 2-1 home win. Alfie Bridge, Mystic Alf going for a 3-1 away win. Let's kick it off and see what we get. Raul coming forward early doors. Kedman with the save. 15 minutes gone. Raquelme, Del Piero, Carlos involved for Churchtown, but it's Jibril Cisse who opened to scoring, and that's a big loss as Dede picks up a knock for Duggan's Gazelles. Just to point this out, I mean, he's a big player, isn't he, Dede? 2-time Super League winner with Phoenix.
Yeah, he is a big player.
What would you do here, Hodgie?
What would I do here? Just looking at that bench, I'd probably just stay with fucking 10. Jesus Christ. I can say this because I'm doing shit with a fantastic side, so I hold my hands up. But there's some shite knocking about this league nowadays.
17 million
Alex
for
Bernardi. 17 million quid. Fucking hell.
Did it, and we're going to see Alex Peñardi come on and make his £17 million debut. It's more ridiculous than the real world, isn't it? Now the Super League with the fees, which is
It is, yeah.
Churchtown do lead though. Kaladze coming forward and there's an effort there. This match will be, I mean, Dimble definitely want to try and get one over on Duggan. Gazelle's just lost a little bit of form as of recent, and he definitely won't want that to continue. Del Piero involved there, and that's Jibril Cisse making it 2 just before half time, and they deserve to be in front. 5 shots, 4 on target for Churchtown, 2 and 2 for Gazelles. Similar action zones. Match report suggests John Terry with a long range. Vulgaris could only parry it for Cisse's rebound, and then Richie Wellens feeding Raul and intercepted by Kaladze, who fed Cisse. Let's go to Churchtown first, and a great start, Hodgie, for Dimple's lads.
Yeah, he'll be delighted with that. You say Rocky Santa Cruz has let him down a little bit, but he's slightly out of position. Sean Davis probably having a quiet game because there's not too much coming towards him. 2 goals from his centre forwards again. That's what you want. He'll be delighted with that. Steady away. Just keep an eye on John Terry with his yellow card. If he can get through without picking another one up, you fancy it'd be 3 points going back to the dropping well.
Indeed. Duggan defended himself there, saying it's almost as if all the managers had the transfers sorted before the new ones came in. It's
You've got to change that narrative as well. We're 6 games in now. It's fucking that's getting a bit dull, isn't it?
Especially considering the start he made.
Yeah, it's only come on in. Dimble's going to keep as is. It's only come in since he's started losing games, hasn't it? Very poor form, Duggan. I'm sure it'll as soon as you start winning again, that'll all get forgotten about. Gazelles then 6s and 7s so far, not working at the moment for them. Would you change anything, Scott?
I mean, I would love to change something, but when you're 2-0 chasing a game, you've not got a great deal to bring off the bench, really. When your only game changer off the bench is Bernardi and you've had to throw him on at left wing back, you're struggling, I think.
Indeed. I'll be surprised if he makes any changes here. Yeah. Come on there, Duggan. Just let us kick this one off, mate.
He's made a change.
Has he? What's he done with?
So he wants Battaglia for Karagounis, Van der Vaart to AMC, Gerrard to centre midfield.
That actually does make a bit of sense there. Give you fair play to Duggan for that. Let's continue. Battaglia comes on.
Somewhere in Sweden, Andreas will be delighted that Battaglia is on the pitch.
Okay, I don't. Oh, because is he someone who tried flogging to everyone or something?
Yeah.
Everybody. You don't fancy selling Crespo, do you? I've got a Battaglia. All right.
Richie Wellens coming forward, but not breaking through the Churchtown back line. Looks pretty solid here with 20 minutes to go. Cisse coming forward. Kaladza, Riquelme, Forlan involved for Gazelles, but no goals. Pignardi with a hopeful effort. Going into the last few minutes now. Santa Cruz ball hits Udeze. Riquelme can't get past Udeze. Yeah, it looks like it's Churchtown more likely. Cisse had another effort there. Garris kicked the ball upfield. Just quickly forward it through a little bit. And there we get to the final whistle. Yeah, over the 90, you've got to say the better team won there, 2-0. Didn't really create too much second half Gazelles. Hodgie, do you want to, talk us through what's going wrong at Gazelles at the minute? Is it entirely down to these names, Battaglia, Pignardi, Wellens, potentially Karagounis? Are these players just not good enough, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I know he's saying that everybody had got their transfers sorted out. I seem to remember Gazelles having a a really strong 11 last year, and then being a little bit weaker in reserve. But yeah, they did not quite look as strong as they did last year, and they missed out on the playoffs last year, I think. So it's going to be a tough ask. I mean, Forlan's bang out of form. When you're picking results up, you can get away with sort of leaving a striker in. But now the results are going against him. I think he's going to have to make a change there. Be interesting.
Castillo, I think he scored last time at Castillo, did he? Yeah, he got the goal and he got dropped, interestingly.
I'd probably be looking at Raul, I think, out of that.
Yeah, but then who do you put at AMC? And Agahoa's been shocking, hasn't he?
You're £17 million man. I mean, I wouldn't buy him, but if you're spending £17 million on him, you've got to be sort of thinking he's going to be pushing towards your 11. I would think.
Yeah.
Or is that just me being a tight Yorkshireman?
Yeah, probably a bit of both. But yeah, I think if he's gone out and bought him, he should be giving him a run. Kahiba Kaladza, main man tonight, getting a 10. He's probably gone under the radar a bit this Super League save, but he's been pretty solid for Locomotive and then for Churchtown. It's a good win for Dimble, isn't it, Scott?
Yeah, really impressive win. On Kaladza, he's absolutely dominated that middle of the park tonight. Dominated on the ball with his passing. He's won all his tackles. He's won most of his headers.
That is a complete performance, isn't it? Really?
It really is. I think Dimble's utilised him in a couple of positions, but I think in that centre midfield holding area is probably his best position. He'll be delighted that he's put Cisse in and he's got the goal. obviously, we've touched on numerous times that goals are going to win games. So yeah, really solid performance. Duggan will be disappointed. To be honest, I think he'll be back to the drawing board and maybe a few changes.
Next, we go to the C-suite, and this team was selected via WhatsApp, which is the new one. But obviously there was extenuating circumstances, as Mac has been down to Celtic Manor on a golf trip. He's gone with a formation he used a couple of weeks ago, and then selected his team to play in that formation. Should we stick with you, Scott? What do you think are Fulchester's chances this season, and how far away is this 11 from their best 11?
I don't think it's far away at all. I think at times, probably against different opposition, he might move Biscan, take him out and play the midfielder. But apart from that, it's a pretty solid team. You know what you're going to get with Fulchester. They're going to pick up results. They're going to be relatively hard to break down. I'm still not a fan of Beckham. I'm still not convinced by him at all. He's got a couple of assists, I think, so far this season. But
yes, someone mentioned last week that they're not that Nedved's a myth in this. Is that something that you subscribe to, or?
I think it depends how you utilise him. I think if they get the ball and they've got Nedved and Varane in that centre midfield area, they should be creating 10 to 15 chances comfortably. Whether Ronaldo and Sutton can get the goal, we'll have to wait and see. But that midfield should be creating bags and passes.
Michael Owen not got the goals, but got 3 assists so far this season and on an 8, but he doesn't get a starting 11 tonight. But Sutton, who's got an average rating of 7, and Ronaldo on 6.8, do get the start. I think he's brought Ronaldo to playing though, so you kind of forgive him that one. But Chris Sutton is the interesting one in my opinion. I think he's done the business time and time again in big games for Fulchester. He's won games for them as well, which is why Macca sticks with him. John Curtis getting a squad number for the first time as we proceed to the match, and he's up against the league leaders so far this season, who've been absolutely, I've got to say, they've been one of the most dominating starts we've seen from a Super League team, and Ian will be really happy with how Northern Bern has started, won't he, Hodgie?
Yeah, he will. Yeah. They must. I picked them out. They were my favourites to win it. They were side I fancied. Obviously, you look at that 11. It's pretty obvious why. Even you have a few players missing, and Lundberg's not great, but you don't miss Roy Keane so much. Jeremy sits in there. Robin's out, and I'm a fan of Chun Su if he can go well.
Yeah, I think Youngberg, when he played, did he score a goal? Yeah, he scored there and got a 9, so he's not a bad reserve. I thought we might have seen Martin Morgan come in for a game, but he's sticking with Youngberg as his number 2 in that area. Lee Chon-Su at 90% is the interesting one. I thought, yeah, he does have players to come in if needs be, but Ian's always subscribed to the fact that he's going to try and play his best 11 whenever they are fit or as close to it. He's not one that experiments switching players left, right, and centre. Yeah. Oh, what's your prediction for tonight then, Hodgie? Do you think that Northern Bern have got enough to go away from home to Fulchester, or is this up in the air, this one?
It's a tight one, is this? I've not sat on fence all night. I've picked a winner out every time, but I am going to go with a 1-1 draw here.
1-1 draw. Scott, what do you think, mate?
Yeah, it's obviously a difficult game to call. Two good, solid sides. I think that Maxim will be the difference. 1-0 Bern.
Just picking up on Ian Campbell's question, yeah. Mac has been to many a golf club all over Scotland. I played Glen Eagles with him, which was a complete waste of Glen Eagles on me, but it was a wonderful day out and wonderful sights. But yeah, and Mac has been quite modest. He loves his golf. Right, it's Fulchester versus Northern Bern. It's our penultimate game of the evening. Let's kick this one off and see what we get. Predictions looking like they're going either way. A couple of people picking 2-1 home wins, 3-1 away victories, 1 apiece is in there. Let's see what we get. Giggs, Nedved, Varane combining early doors for an effort for Fulchester. Sutton goes down. Looks like Fulchester have started the quicker. Ljungberg involved though, as is Totti for Northern Bern. Nedved, Sutton, Ronaldo coming forward. 90 minutes gone, we've had no goals. Sizalko, Chunsu coming forward for Northern Bern. But there's Ryan Giggs. I don't know how much build-up there was of that. It seemed like it was out of nowhere. And that man that we've questioned a couple of times, Freddie Ljungberg biting straight back. And there's the man that Scott mentioned, Sizalko. It's 2-1 after just 29 minutes. And we've got a red card to Walter Samuel for Northern Bern. This is the action-packed thriller that we were hoping for, isn't it, Hodgie?
Yeah, it is. And I think I'd be very surprised if it wasn't Chunsu for Nowotny here, obviously. He's on a 6 and he was only 90% fit. So I think we will see Chunsu for Nowotny. And I think Edwards is a bit of an OCD, so Henry will go right down the middle, won't he?
I suspect that you are right on all counts there. How much do you think that Chunsu off and Notney just confirm to us, Ian, as soon as you can whether you want Henry Central?
I just start clicking on all his players till he decides. He'll soon decide quickly then. No, he don't like that, does he?
No, he
Just have a
hates
click
it.
on them all.
Henry Central with an arrow, fair enough, yeah. How much of an impact do you think that's going to have on the game?
I think it's going to be enough to make it a draw on full time.
Sources calculating one over the bar there, but Fulchester coming back in there. That's a yellow card for Yen Germany's. I mean, he's top of the league, but he has suffered with disciplinary so far this season, has Ian. I mean, 2 red cards for Roy Keane. This time it's Walter Samuel, relatively even first half. It's just been the shots on target, which has been the difference, both with 5. Yeah, pretty level in terms of action zones and possession. It was Beckham laid it right to Giggs. That's Beckham's 3rd assist of the season. But then it was a Totti effort from a free kick, which was only parried by Buffon, and Ljungberg put away the rebound. And then it looks like a bit of a solo effort from Sizalko after being volleyed the ball from Ljungberg. So yeah, let's look at Northern Bern first. Considering he's down to 10 men, cautiously optimistic, do you think, Scott?
Yeah, I think, if he'll obviously be delighted to have got in half time 2-1. I think the performance has been okay, relatively even game. I think you would expect Fulchester to try and kick on second half, and it's all going to boil down to whether they can take the chances that they create. Because if they don't, Fulchester could probably dominate the first 30 minutes of the second half, but if they don't, it could be free maxim and game over.
I completely understand that that idea. Let us know if you want any changes. I suspect not, Ian, but let us know if you do. Let's have a quick look at Fulchester, Hodgie. Quite a few 6s in there, apart from Giggs, Veron and Beckham, Nedved. It's the midfield which are pulling them through, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he'd be hoping 1 or 2 players can step up this second half against 10 men, and yeah, I think 2-1 down at half time, he'd probably take a point.
He's been a bit doom and gloom in the chat, saying no impact, Ian to win. Mackie, let know if you want any subs, mate. Ian Edwards going as is, as I expected. Okay, Michael Lowen, I assume, is going to come on for someone. Owen for Sutton. Yes, I expected that. Owen comes on left forward then. Unless there's any other subs incoming, let's kick off this. And here we go. Totti, Ljungberg. It looks like Northern Bern who started the quickest in the second half. That red card not having much impact. 65 minutes gone already. Biscan deep in the ball. Looks like it's all Northern Bern though, and we've got a 3rd goal for them. Thierry Henry. Maka will not be happy with how this is going. The last 5 minutes, it's absolutely flew this second half. Northern Bern have dug in, and they've been the better team throughout. Looks like Kizalko could even try and make it 4 rather than Fulchester coming back into this. Maka saying he has to get something here. It's looking more and more unlikely. Yeah, Northern Bern looking formidable at this moment in time. Considering 3 red cards, I know one of them was right at the end of the game, but do you mean the start to the season that they have had is absolutely frightening? Yeah, and considering they're down to 10 men, the domination in that second half is surprising, but Not too surprising, isn't it, Scott?
No, I think that formidable is exactly the right word. We questioned Lundberg, and he's coming and done a job again. Ian's obviously kept faith with him. The fact that they can be so dominant and look so untroubled with 10 men is a real concern for the 13 teams.
Yeah, and I think he spent big on Nuotny, did he? 17 million. People thought that was, I mean, he let, but it's that thing, he generally keeps a tight squad and wants some quality to come in as and when he needs it. Ian Edwards saying, crikey, not expecting that. Unlucky Macca. Macca being gracious, saying better side. Ian, well done. Yeah, he's had a couple of sixes in there, and Samuel and Chunsu sacrifice. But apart from that, it's just a solid performance all around. Youngberg picking up man of the match, getting the assist and the goal. But yeah, they created throughout the park. Hodgie, is this a formation thing? Would you put an attacking midfielder in behind a striker? Or do you think it's just an one-off night for Fulchester? What do you think's going wrong here?
Yeah, I think it's maybe just a bad day at the office against a good side. He's a good manager who's been around for a while now. He's always thereabouts. I wouldn't be making all say changes and panicking off back of a defeat to a very good side.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. And we get to our main event of the evening. It is the Devils. They've had a solid start, haven't they, Haji? They've had a really solid start.
Man
But
for man, yeah, we've been good.
man for man, you've been good.
Very good, yeah.
And this is your Devils BPF that you sent me via email, so I did get it up to date in time.
Yeah. Bring back Fifey.
Bring back Fife, is that what it stands for?
That's what it stands for.
Do you want to talk us through it, mate, and what you expect from tonight?
Yeah, well, don't think we've been too bad defensively. So I've stuck with the same back two and the same four that we've had out. Ferguson is in centre midfield where he's been. I'm just giving a little bit of a hand with Emerson. Just thinking maybe we're getting a little bit overrun in midfield. A lot of sides are playing two in midfield, but I didn't want to lose the two DMCs. Tobias Gran has been pretty decent. He's had a couple of assists and a goal in 3 games. So it was just because of what he'd done previously that he got the nod behind Mpenza. And yeah, that's it. I'd literally just take 1-0 with a 90th minute own goal at a minute, just to try and get some points on the board and then build from there. If we can.
Would you suggest it's quite a defensive lineup at home? This really. Only 2 players in the opposition half. He's left Kula and Aymar on the bench. Is that something you would agree to?
I just think without Kieran Dyers playing and Van Bronckhorst, if they can get up and down and get balls into that centre forward, then we should be able to score. And keeping the players defensive is just trying to keep control of the midfield, really. Because there's got to be something that hasn't been going right, and I just can't quite put my finger on it. It's not individual player rating, so maybe it is just team shape a little bit. So I thought we try something a little bit different without being too drastic.
Yep, I completely understand that. Andrew Allen, evening, mate. Thanks for joining us. Scotty boy, I think it's been a good start for you. I don't know what I'm doing now. Let's go back to your team. It's this kind of wall in front of the defence. Asher Life looks absolutely solid. Lasisi is solid as always. NDI and Decor, you've brought them both in to protect that defence. Ortega moves up to attacking midfield tonight, and we see the debut for Phil Neville. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Obviously, you've got Gonzalez suspended. And to move Ortega forward. Collins gets the nod up front ahead of Anelka Rossini. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think we've been incredibly solid defensively, that sort of defensive 7. Seeing Hodges' sort of bank of eight defensive players, if you like, is going to make it a tight game. And I think it will be decided by a goal, but anything can happen once you click start game. It could be 4-3, who knows? But I would expect on the balance of both teams' starts for it to be relatively tight. I think if you put Aymar into Hodges' team for Grant, it's as strong, if not stronger, on paper than that Bern side. Would you see?
That's an interesting call. Different ends at the table at the moment. Yeah. So David Collins, last thing was going to David Collins forgiven for his right hook, I think it was, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. If anybody's got the balls to chin Patrick Vieira, then good luck to
um, couple of predictions in the chat. Mr. Edwards going 2-2, Ian going 1-1, a lot of 0-0. A couple of away victories as well. Hyphy going 2-0, Dimbo going 1-0. DC the hero in a Stanley win, says Andrew Allen 2-1. Hodgie, do you reckon your boys can do it?
Yeah, I think we'll sneak it. We've got a
Scotty boy?
I think it'll be decided by a goal, Collins or Mpenza.
Ian Edwards tends to agree with you, Scott. Let's kick this one off and see where it takes us. And Jacques involved, a lot of red and white. To start us off, Decor going down, header from Collins, always looks dangerous. Dyer down the right hand side. And Penza, looks like both teams creating a little bit. I would suggest that Bostock creating a little bit more. Lasisi picks up a knock. What are you doing here? NDI back and Welsh defending the field, or what are you doing,
Yeah,
Scott?
put Ndai in there and put Welsh on. I don't like that, though, to be honest. I don't like having to move Ndai back there.
Okay, you happy with that though? In terms of that's what you can do.
Yeah, let's roll.
We continue. I wonder if that has too much of an effect. Van Bronckhorst coming forward. Phil Neville seems to have been involved a lot for Bostock Stanley. A lot, I'd say more white and red than red and white. You can't really pick out too many efforts on goal though from either side. And Penza brings it forward as I say that. We've had a yellow card for someone, and we've still got 27,000 coming down for the Devils games, Haji. So don't worry, you haven't put them off too much. But it has been a bit of an abysmal first half for your guys. Just the
yeah.
one shot off target. The only one shot on target against you though from Bostock. It's not been vintage Champman football. We'll start with your lads, Hodgie. Uh, yeah, frustrating first half.
Yeah, it's not been ideal, but again, it's scorelines. I'd rather be 0-0 and play shit than 1-0 down and looking like we've got 7s and 8s and stuff. So it will bring. I don't usually make changes at half time. It will bring Gran off and bring Aymar on.
So you're listening to everyone saying that that's your strongest 11.
I've not got the comments.
Oh, well, I mean, Scott said it. You mean?
Oh, all right, yeah. I only say I've not got the comment. I can't do all reading and listening and talking all at the same time. So there's no comments for me.
Neither can I, mate. I just bundle through all this shit. Yeah, Scott, relatively satisfied with that first half. Frustrated about the Lasisi injury.
Yeah, it's obviously frustrating. He's been rock solid. The game's played out as I thought it would, to be honest, with such solid defensive lines. I still think it could be decided by him. I'm going to bring on Diego Tristan for Jacques, and I'm going to drop Collins back.
Tristan on for Jacques, who's on a 6, and Collins to AMC. Tristan up top, that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Let's see how much impact that has, and we kick off the second half. Looks like Van Bronckhorst is involved early doors, and after 55 minutes, he's put the Devils in the lead. Aymar and a drive low from Dyer. Looks like the Devils have come out firing the second half, and as soon as I say that, an injury to Sorochinsky, potentially a straight swap for Andre Uja.
Yeah. Stick.
How are we pronouncing this, by the way? Uja, is that right?
Ouya. I call him Ouya.
Uja.
Andre Ouya. Silent J.
Silent J. Andre Uja.
Yeah.
Dutch, isn't it? Uja.
He's not bad actually. I don't mind him. He's not because he didn't play much under 5, but he's not bad.
Not bad, not bad. It was 67 minutes gone, 73 minutes gone. Van Bronckhorst looks like Devils slightly the more likely. We'll slow it down for the last 10 minutes. Devils look like they're I was just about to say, looks like they're going to turn up this season, but we've had Diego Tristan equalise for Bostock on his debut. The last 5 minutes now, it's Frey kicking the ball upfield, Gattuso, Aymar offside. Are we going to have a last chance? Gattuso again brings it forward elegantly. I've never seen Gattuso do anything elegantly, but there's an effort wide from Ferguson. Frey hits the ball to safety. 93 minutes, and it's spoil shared in this game. Devils look like they had a stronger second half, especially the start of it, but Bostock coming into it. Yeah, I think relatively even, but would you class that as 2 points drops, Hodgie?
Not with where we've been playing. No, it's 1 point gained. Yeah, as soon as you slowed it down, which you know that I fucking hate, the player that I sold to fucking Bostock scored on his debut. So it's just more of my bad luck, I think. But no, it's not a bad point. It's not an unfair point. It's better than a defeat.
Defeat. 9 for the elegant Gattuso, and Penza getting a 7. Not got his scoring boots on just yet, but I'm sure they'll arrive sooner rather than later. Relatively solid defensive display from you guys. Soroczynski's injury doesn't look like it's going to be too bad. So yeah, is that just kind of take your medicine and and come back next time and try and get these wins on the board then, yeah?
I'm still in it, and it's maybe a bit of a long shot, but I'm still overthinking of when we win, I'll go on one of them runs that I've done a few times before and maybe win 7 or 8 on the bounce, and although we're not getting the results, the performances are there. You just need to start winning some games, and
yeah, you could have easily. Go on, sorry, mate.
I still think that that'd be better than a few teams. I don't think we have to worry about being bottom yet, but although I will be bottom now, I think, which will be.
Yeah, someone potentially saying that. Fifey saying this is the better result for Bostock Stanley, though, Scott. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm pleased with the point, if I'm honest. I didn't expect to create a massive amount when I saw Hodges line. So to get an equaliser when they were probably on top second half, if we're honest, is good. Clearly, my attacking players didn't get into the game a great deal, apart from Tristan nicking that equaliser. Blazer Razou's probably got the only rating that he'll get less than a 7 this season up against Dyer, which, you can accept that. He's been incredible. So yeah, point gained on the road against the team that I considered favourites at the start of the season. We'll definitely take that.
You still think the favourites, mate?
I think it's going to be hard work. I think that once Hodgie, I think he's right. If Hodgie gets a formation to tick and they give a side a dicking, then they quite comfortably could go on a run. If they make the 6, nobody's going to want to play them. Look at the squad.
Yeah. Quick run through the results. Haggis taking the points away from Astor Athletic. Churchtown quite dominant in the victory at home to Gazelles. A surprise yet absolute dominant victory for Dudley Hill away at Dragons. Fulchester couldn't overcome a 10-man at Northern Bern, who continue their winning run. Hull's disappointing and Sloth's nicking it. Maybe a little harsh on Sloths probably there. Spell shared Laddersford versus Locomotive, and also with the Devils and Bostock. More goals tonight than we had on Sunday, and this is how it's impacted the table. Won 5 out of 6 Northern Bern. They've solidified and got a bit of breathing space at the top of the table. Haggis, after 4 wins on the spin, are up in second. Laddersford, Locomotive, Bostock and Fulchester still lurking. Churchtown have made strides towards that top 6. Gazelles have dropped off a little bit, and it's not the Devils who are bottom. Considering they conceded 3 goals and got beat tonight, it's the Dragons who dropped to 14th. So you can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief, Hodgie.
Yeah, we've only got one defeat in his last 4 now.
Yeah.
So we're slowly turning it around.
Slowly turning it around, very, very slowly indeed.
I don't think we're seeing an awful lot of goals, are we? The last couple of weeks, and You know, there's only one team in the league after 6 games that scored more than 10.
Yeah, we had a few
Yeah.
on that game, didn't we? It was definitely the last show on Sunday was pretty. The Friday show was really good. Then the Sunday show was relatively quiet, and tonight was average, I'd say. I mean, only 4 of the 14 teams didn't score. We've not had what we haven't had is any of the absolute thumpings that we sometimes get. We've not had a 6-3 or a 5-1 or anything like that.
I think that just shows that the teams down at the bottom are not as bad. I think that's what that is, Ryan.
Fair enough. Fair enough. In Campbell, as I put the fixtures on screen, have a quick look at some of the chats there, saying 5-10, if it was me in charge of Devils, he'd be getting crucified. The last year's finalists are bottom 2. What the actual fuck? Harsh on Sloths. Apparently, I did say maybe that's a little bit harsh. I didn't mean to be harsh on Sloths. Mr. Campbell saying he can't see you down there, alluding to his run of good form. I'm sure it can all go wrong just yet, Campbell. Yes, but you are top of the form table with 4 on the spin. Dragons have lost 3 on the spin, as have Gazelles and Hools. Dyer maintains his top spot. Desai at the grand old age of 35 up there. Kiotis, did he get? He got an 8 despite getting beat 3-0. And there's look at the goals. And Tizalco, not surprisingly, has moved to top. Montello is up there. Yeah. Anything to add? Any final?
Could I just respond to Pfeiffer before we go? I think a lot of it, what it is people would be giving him it in the comments because they know that they can wind him up and they can make him play these silly formations and they can influence his team selection. And I think they all maybe know that that's not going to happen with me. I'm not going to be thinking, oh shit, I've not won for 3 games. I'm going to play Kieran Dyer as a right centre forward. It's not going to happen. So we'll keep rolling on. I don't think that's a bad performance tonight. If somebody wants to have a chat afterwards and maybe tell me where I've gone wrong there tonight, Mr. Fife, but I don't think that's a bad performance tonight against a good side in Bostock.
Doesn't get any easier though. I mean, away from home next time out again, second in the league, Haggis Hunters.
There's no easy games.
Fair enough.
Games.
Yeah. Anything to add? Any final words of wisdom, Scotty Boy?
No, nothing from me really. Glad to come with a point. Glad to be on as always. So, thanks for having me.
Yep. Thank you so much for everyone for joining us. Then everyone want to click that like button. I'd be very, very happy. I don't know why. What do you mean doing the old like and subscribe bullshit? But yeah, fuck it. Why not? Thank you for everyone joining us. Thank you very much for my fantastic, cool co-coms this evening. They've been true value. So yeah, and I will get the save out and your packs out, and Fifey will be with you at the weekend. Thank you very much, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your evening.